All right, I think we should be good now. I think we should be good, guys. I'm a disgrace in it. I am very, very sorry. I'm a disgrace. I changed some stuff on my microphone while I was tidying up my desk. But, guys, I think we should be good. And I'm going to check. Yeah, audio is here. Big up everybody in the chat. Thank you for letting me know that you actually couldn't hear me. As I was saying, obviously you guys did not hear. But I was planning to review the game. Couldn't do it over the weekend because I had a lot to do, but so much has happened in the last 12 hours or so that I'm going to start with the most recent news, which is about 8 minutes ago, I lied, from David Ornstein saying that Manchester United have submitted their first proposal to sign Marc Cucurella from Chelsea. Oh my god. Chelsea have responded. Talks are ongoing. The offer is an initial loan plus clubs discussing any various parameters around that. Manchester United like the 25-year-old for Ten Hag's system, and he's a top candidate as things stand. Now, aside from that, we were also linked to a bunch of other left backs as well. And I want to hear, of course, everybody's thoughts on this before we go on to talk about the injuries, as there's been news about injuries as well. And obviously, I know everyone is going to bring up the topic of Amrabat. But at this point, I think we should accept that that is not happening anytime soon. But the other fullbacks we were linked to was Tagliafico, Marcus Alonso, Rico Henry and Spinazzola, and of course Cucurella. Now, it's funny, I think, because I must feel like I'm the only person that thinks we might not need a left back, and I'd rather we go out and buy either a central midfielder and a centre back, or anything that's not a left back. Now, on the topic of centre backs, of course, it came out just about 20 or 25 minutes ago that Raphael Varane will be out against Arsenal this weekend. So that's another player that we will not have. So as it stands right now, guys, we have Raphael Varane out injured. We have Mason Mount out injured. We have Luke Shaw out injured. We have Malacia out injured. We have Kobbie Mainoo out injured. Amad Diallo out, and Tom Heaton, and of course Rasmus Højlund, who could actually possibly be making a return or making his debut, not even a return, making his debut sometime this weekend. Now, the weirdest thing for me is that he actually got called up on international duty. If he was not fit, then I just don't see why he's getting a call up at all. That confuses me a little bit. But we're going to talk about, obviously, Marc Cucurella and the expectations as the transfer window comes to an end. There's about 4 days left before the transfer window ends. I personally do not see us buying a player. Please, everybody, if you have any hopes that we're buying a player, just get that hope. It's the hope that will kill you, because anybody we get from here on out, we will likely be getting them on a loan. Big up to Eric. I hope you enjoyed the game on the weekend. Of course, Manchester United making a big comeback, and I feel like we just made it difficult for ourselves, to be honest. Big up everybody in the chat as always. Shout out to Austin, says back in the manager, but this one really has me scratching my head. I don't know if Cucurella is actually the first time that I'm questioning the manager's talent ID or whatever. Is it all on Ten Hag? Because I know Darren Fletcher is like the technical director at Manchester United. Doesn't he deserve a bit of criticism as well? Just the whole operation between Murto, Arnold, Ten Hag, Fletcher, etc. I think we should be questioning that all as a whole, rather than just questioning Ten Hag. But it just seems like a lot of Ten Hag's targets, or a lot of the people we've been linked to, especially in the last 24 hours, they have some sort of relation, whether it's them playing in a game against a Ten Hag side, or them playing for a team that Ten Hag once was a coach for, assistant coach for, whatever. It seems like they've always got some sort of relation, like Ten Hag's just picking up the phone. Like, you know, when you just, hey stranger, how you been? It seems like that's what our transfer tactic is for the next, I would say, couple of days. It's quite frustrating, and it just makes me curious as to how the hell are we going to perform on Sunday? And of course, we're gonna talk about that as well. Big up to Adam, says Arsenal facing us when we have injuries again. It's bad, because I think the biggest concern is Varane being out injured at the same time that Luke Shaw. That's two of our starting back four out injured. That means whoever plays left back is playing out of position, and then whoever's replacing Rafael Varane will be actually playing. They're a backup option playing in an important fixture. I'm not saying that I'd rather them play in another fixture, but if we were playing someone like Forest, I'd be conscious, but I wouldn't be too conscious, if you know what I mean. I wouldn't be that overly concerned, because we know what an Arsenal fixture does to everyone. We know what it's like online. I think it's actually, I genuinely feel like in the Premier League, it's one of the most talked about discussions, like online, on social media, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, whatever you use for social media, football consumption. I feel like it's one of the biggest, it's the biggest ones. Big up to Riri, says big up Mina and everyone in the chat. I've been questioning it since Fletcher's kids were a higher priority than other youngsters we've had coming through. I have actually some questions regarding that, because I feel like we're just having a car boot sale on all of our academy players. We've sold so many academy players in the last couple of weeks, or just in this transfer window alone. We've had so many outgoings. It's actually kind of scary. It's actually quite concerning, especially players that I thought could get an opportunity. One thing that I've realised with actually Ten Hag is that I think he plans to promote one person from the academy every year, and I feel like it's already last year it was Garnacho, this year Amad Diallo, next year I hope it could be Isaac Aaron Hansen, because I think he's a good player. I like him, but it seems like we just buy academy players from other European teams, develop them, and then sell them for actually less than what we brought them for. If you look at this transfer window alone and the ones that we've had, the outgoings we've had, bar Zidane Iqbal, Ethan Laird, players that have come up through the academy system. There's been a few that we've actually brought in and then we've just sold. It makes no sense. And then on top of that, we have no money anyways to go out and then buy players. We sold Alanga, we're selling Dean Henderson, we sold Fred just to be linked to Højbjerg. Now, I'm not saying that Højbjerg and Fred are anyway similar in terms. I think they are quite different, and I think what they offer is different in playing style, etc. But I just don't get why you would sell Fred if he was approaching his last year in his contract and you had no intention to let him extend his contract. You should have just kept him for one more year, an extra body in midfield, extra body on the bench, someone that we don't have to be patient with him in terms of coming in, learning the system, getting used to the manager, etc. And he would only be called in for rotational opportunities and whatnot. Obviously, now that Mason Mount is out, we are running very, very light in midfield, so it's really, guys, I don't know, I always try to be as positive as possible. You guys know that I always try to be not overly positive, but just always look at the brighter side of stuff. But right now I think I'm concerned about this transfer window and the way that the transfer window would end. And it's so funny because 2 weeks ago, before the season started, everyone was saying, yeah, this transfer window is a 6 out of 10. We got a keeper, we got a midfielder, we got a striker. And now everybody is starting to become a little bit concerned. Big up to Tavislaw, says the sporting management deserve this. Maybe they'll be able to take their freaking fingers out of their beep. They do deserve it. I can't really dispute that at all. How is Fletcher still here? Which club in the world would hire him to do anything? Are we a professional club? It is kind of concerning. I can't lie. It definitely is concerning with the way that we're operating. And also the fact that the injury list continues to grow and it doesn't look like, we knew we needed a backup centre back. We have, Lindelof, Maguire, whatever. They want to sign Johnny Evans. But realistically, that is not good enough. I don't think those are defenders that are good enough to be in a consistent back four. I think Lindelof definitely proved it last season. You can rely on him. He's a leader. He can play in that back line. He complements Martinez well. Bear in mind, Lisandro Martinez himself is still coming off of, that injury from last season. So he hasn't even picked up rhythm. He hasn't picked up his full rhythm yet. And now his partner is changing in that centre-back position, where he'll be playing with Lindelof, could be playing with Maguire, etc. Wouldn't even be surprised if we might see Casemiro playing centre-back if we needed it. Luke Shaw sometimes used to play centre-back last season. He's out injured. So it is concerning for me that Manchester United are obviously going out to target a left-back, whether it's and I think it's because it's what we can afford at the moment, which, again, questions can be asked, because how on earth did we sell players and we still don't have enough money right now to bring in other options? And I don't care, because at the end of the day, the club is able to generate revenue. They should have owners that obviously invest, etc., etc. But I just feel like centre-back position, we've been knowing that Raphael Varane was injury prone. I saw a stat that said he played like 48 out of 72 games that he's played. He's been at Manchester United, which is interesting. That's just above 50%. That's just above a 50% record in 2.5 seasons, is that? I think it's like 2.5 seasons. So it's kind of interesting. We've been knowing he's injury prone. He retired from international football because his body cannot hack playing this many games in a row for club and country. So why have Manchester United not gone out to sign a centre-back? Like, it just blows my mind. And even with the centre-backs that we were linked to, and it's actually it's a similar story with the midfield issue, I would say. We've been knowing we need a midfielder, similar to like knowing that we needed a striker. We've been knowing we needed a midfielder, and yet the club still can't sort that out, get that over the line, and just bring in somebody. It's actually quite frustrating. And I respect anyone that can stay optimistic for the season, because I think I should come back. I did say I was going to come back to my predictions, the predictions that I make at the beginning of the season. I said I was going to come back to it once the transfer window is closed, just so that I can, rethink my decisions, because I definitely will be rethinking it, especially with the way that we have started. We have some good academy players, but we never have a coach that wants to promote them. That is crazy. It is crazy. Angel Gomez out balling in France could have been a good midfield option. Manchester United felt like he wasn't big enough to operate. When I say big, I mean like physicality wise, because he's quite a small, petite player. They thought that he was not big enough to operate in the Premier League, similar to Zidane Iqbal. Now we've got Soufiane Amrabat. He's basically like one step away from being on hunger strike in Italy, because he wants to move. Fiorentina just trying to get him out as much as possible. And I have a feeling that a club will approach Fiorentina probably on a loan move. His contract, I think, actually expires next summer with Fiorentina. So a club might actually try to get him on loan and then sign him on a permanent next year for free. I don't know if Fiorentina might keep him, but it's clear that Fiorentina are also trying to push him out. He's on strike. He's not playing. He's not training. He's not doing anything. He's, like I said, he's going to stop eating soon. He wants to move. And what I've actually heard is that his camp feel deceived, if you want to say that, deceived by Manchester United and Erik ten Hag. He's spoken to the manager. The manager's spoken to his camp. Has, put full faith in the fact that the club will make a bid for him, and obviously that's not happening. So I can imagine his frustration, and I know that he was actually approached by like five clubs actually, including Manchester United. Obviously one in Turkey, one in the Middle East, and then 3 in Europe, including one in the Premier League. So this is obviously clear that he is wanted by teams. It's obviously clear that he has the ability to play at a top level. He's going for 20 million now. They went from 30 million to 20 million. Soon they might just ask for 15 million as the transfer window approaches, I think. And he's doing all he can. At this point, he has to do what's that? Adewengi. I think his name was Adewengi. Am I saying it wrong? The guy that turned up at QPR's facilities like unannounced on transfer deadline day. I'm definitely saying his name wrong. I'm definitely saying it wrong. Odemwengi, there you go. Peter Odemwengi turned up at Palace. Turned up at QPR's, sorry, not Palace. Turned up at QPR's training facilities, trying to get the move or whatever, he might as well just do that. Pull up to Carrington, bro. I'll give you the postcode. Just turn up to Carrington. At that point, what are they going to do? Turn you away? They'll have to sign you. Because I actually feel bad for Amrabat at this point. And also, I see a lot of people questioning what sort of player he is, for like the fact that nobody's really approaching him to sign him and whatnot. And I don't think it's that. I do feel like there's other midfield options out there alongside him, but I think for the price that he's at, it's definitely a good possibility. If anything, I would have kept Fish, would have saved a bit as fourth choice over Jacob and Evans. Even they let Tendon Mengi go, I think it is. They let the other centre back, what was his name, that had a crazy game against PSG and Mbappe, literally locked Mbappe up. I forgot what his name was. Is Fosu Mensah. They let Fosu Mensah obviously go. Only Man United sells Fred less than a packet of Walkers and then target Danish Fred for double the price. Tuanzebe, that's it. Big up to Tabislaw, because I said Fosu Mensah, but Fosu Mensah's been gone for a minute now. He's at Bayer Leverkusen. Tuanzebe, they let Tuanzebe go out on a free as well. But guys, before we get into the nitty gritty and, you know, obviously the ups and the downs of the transfer window and all these players that we're linked to and what's the reality of what's actually going to happen, let's quickly discuss, I would say, the Nottingham Forest game, 3-2 win at Old Trafford, which to me, I had no optimism. Guys, for pretty much majority of the game. Even when we scored the winner, I still felt like, what the hell? Because I feel like, we made it so difficult for ourselves. It was ridiculous. The second goal, I was actually questioning Andre Onana. Can I just say, all the Sky Sports, BBC, all the pundits and commentators on all these places, Talk Sport, whatever, disgraceful to spend how many days discussing that penalty when it was a clear penalty. It was a clear penalty, and your dislike for Manchester United is so big that you want to spend hours and hours and hours claiming that Rashford dived. If you saw Liverpool's penalty the week before that and you didn't say anything about that, then I'm sorry, you cannot question that penalty. You cannot question the penalty that was given for Marcus Rashford, because that was a clear-cut penalty. And can I just say, Marcus Rashford on the left is so clear that he's a much better player, like so much more effective. How many times before he even got that penalty, how many times in the game, once the momentum picked up with us, did we see him running baseline and doing that, cutting into the box and trying to, he did that, I think it was for the Eriksen goal. Great goal, great assist, I think it was for, no, he had the pre-assist for Casemiro's goal, but again, it was a well-worked goal. And I feel like altogether, we just made the game too difficult for ourselves. And can I say, I'm just sick and tired of conceding opportunities or goals from an offensive corner. If it's our corner, and you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that Champions League game. I think it was against, was it Fenerbahce? I think it was Fenerbahce. It was a Turkish team. It wasn't Besiktas, so it must have been, or it wasn't Galatasaray. It must have been Fenerbahce that we played, and we conceded a goal similar. Not similar to that, but it was from a corner and it was on a counter. And I feel like I've seen that happen way too much. Obviously, everyone's questioning Andre Onana went down early for the dive. It is what it is at this point. I have nothing to say, but I was questioning him for the second goal, which to me, he seemed stationary, feet planted on the floor. Could have done better, in my opinion, of course. But for us to be 2-0 down and to come back 3-2, great mentality shift. We talk so much about, the change in mentality sometimes when players are, when we go down 1-0 and heads drop, shoulders drop, all of that kind of stuff. We lose concentration, we lose inspiration, we lose motivation. But that game was actually the complete opposite of that. And that's what we actually need, especially, coming off of the Spurs loss at home. You know how much that game meant, and regardless of the opponent, I would say regardless of the opponent. But I feel like we made the game way too difficult for ourselves when we didn't really need to. Big up to Koala says, big up Mina, and big up everybody in the chat. Big up. Shout out to Steffi Jenk saying evening Mina and everybody in the chat. Big up Luyanda says, big up Mina, big up to yourself. I hope you are well. How are we so bad with this, says Steffi Jenks. I think that's in reference to the transfer window. When you know what's so funny is that we thought we turned a corner, guys. Our delusion and our foolishness and our stupidity to think that something changed. Our stupidity. We thought, yeah, look at this transfer window. I saw people saying Murto madness. Murto madness for this transfer window. Before the season started, guys. End of July times, people were saying Murto madness. Murto madness what? What is Murto madness, please? Being quoted 70 million for Rasmus Højlund, then paying 70 million for Rasmus Højlund, playing what? 54, I think it was nearly 60 million for a player on his last year of his contract. I think the Andre Onana deal might be the only one that I'm actually okay with out of all the deals. Honestly, out of all the deals, I think the Andre Onana one is the only one that I'm probably okay with. But selling academy players for less than $1 million, is that Murto madness? Is that Murto madness? Not being able to agree a deal for Harry Maguire, i.e. pushing on the personal terms as well, sorting that mess out. Is that Murto madness? I'm questioning anyone that's been calling it Murto madness, because this is the furthest thing from Murto madness for me. The buying of an injured striker, I didn't even mention that. Buying a striker who's injured, then allowing him to get an international call-up when he still hasn't played for the club. Make it make sense. People are, I've realised, people are more mad or more annoyed, I'll say, not mad, I'll say annoyed at the fact that Andre Onana is rejoining Cameroon for the African Cup of Nations qualifiers in September, rather than the fact that a player who's not played at club level for us is going on international duty. I think the priorities are a bit all over the place. Honestly, there is no way Rasmus Højlund should be going out on international duty, in my opinion. Has not played for a club. Manchester United should be able to veto it because it's just common sense. It's honestly just common sense for me anyways. And the whole idea of everyone being mad about Andre Onana, or being annoyed, about Andre Onana not going out now for AFCON, I don't see the big deal. If the club was competent enough, to have a replacement, a good goalkeeper replacement, people wouldn't be questioning it. They shouldn't be questioning Andre Onana, in my opinion. They should not be, it was inevitably going to happen. He was going to kiss and make up with the Cameroon manager. It was inevitably going to happen. If anyone follows African football, this happens. Hakim Ziyech in Morocco, it happened. They kiss and make up all the time. It happens, like I said. But we should be more annoyed at the fact that the club have now spent 15 million, or are spending 15 million on a backup goalkeeper, when those funds could have gone elsewhere. They could have kept someone like Kova on a deal and have him as a backup option. Obviously, Tom Heaton's out injured. That's another unlucky thing. But I think the energy needs to shift away from some of the players, and it needs to shift towards the management. Varane and Shaw are injured, so as it stands, how long do we see an Evans-Maguire partnership? Guys, we might be back in 2020, because we might actually see Lindelof and Maguire a lot sooner than you think. All it takes right now, guys, is one Martinez suspension, one Martinez injury, one Martinez knock from us to see a back line that has Maguire and Lindelof. That's all it's going to take. And you know what? I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. That's all I have to say. I don't think it's impossible for that to happen. And that's not me saying Lisandro Martinez will get injured. It's not me saying that he will get a suspension or a red card. I'm just saying I feel like the injury process or whatever, the injury record right now is not looking good. And I swear we got a new doctor from Arsenal. And now everybody's dropping like flies. What's going on, guys? I'm no conspiracist. But there's a conspiracy here to be had. like I said, I'm no conspiracist, but there's a conspiracy here to be had. That back line for me is the biggest concerning part. That's the biggest concerning part. I'm concerned, obviously, about, you know, the holes in midfield, but for me, the back line, I can't look past that. Big up to Blue Dabadi Dabadai says Lindelof playing better than Varane recently. I think Lindelof has been playing pretty well for the last, I would say, since he came in basically towards the end of last season. Since he came in at the end of last season, I think he's when called upon, he's really been working. Which is why I'm not against having him as a backup option. I'm happy with that. Okay, so there's some extra news about the Cucurella bid, or the deal, or whatever you want to call it. Manchester United will not advance with any other left back until they're in talks with Marc Cucurella. The club are confident they will reach an agreement with Chelsea. The loan fee offered in excess of 2 million is not enough, but United will insist in the next few hours. I think they will definitely maybe go to like up to 4 or 5 million. I say 4 or 5 million is the likelihood. I can't imagine anything more than that, especially not on a loan. Big up to Dean, says afternoon Mina, afternoon Dean. I hope you are doing well. But on the topic, because somebody actually brought this up, Amrabat looking likely, Romano tweet. I don't think guys, and I know I said a long time that, you know, tier 1, all of that stuff, but this is just me based off my personal opinion. I think if we were to get Amrabat, guys, we would have got him a long time ago. I think we would have got him a long time ago. And I mean, we would have got him when we knew we needed a midfielder. Clearly, Erik ten Hag, I think his stubbornness or his reluctantness, or maybe his hands are just tied and he has to pick his battles wisely with the management and the ownership at Manchester United, where we just cannot afford to buy another player and we can only go out and get loans, which is why we've been linked to Gravenberch on a loan. We've been linked to who else? Obviously, Correa on a loan. Everybody that we've been linked to has been loan. Nothing outright purchase. No outright purchase. We're just borrowing players. That's it. What's up with United and left backs? I swear every manager we have had since Fergie has signed a left back. We brought Ten Hag came in, brought Malacia. We brought Dalot, who was initially a left back. Dalot was initially brought as a left back before he was moved to right back because he was playing left back at Porto. We brought Alex Telles. It seems like they love to buy competition for Luke Shaw. Does that make you think that people don't rate Luke Shaw? Do you think that maybe managers don't think of highly of Luke Shaw as, you know, other fans or other people might make of him? Because you're right. Big up to Blue Dabadi Dabadai. You are right. Every Manchester United manager seems to come out and buy a left back every time they can in a window when they come to Manchester United. Like I said, we saw it with Mourinho, we saw it with Van Gaal, we saw it with Oli, and now we've seen it with Ten Hag as well. And it's pretty just unlucky, I think. I think it's actually unlucky for Malacia getting injured. We don't even know what his injury is. We don't even know how long he's out injured for. I'm just assuming he's out for a long time because I feel like if they've not mentioned what it is, then it's a long injury. But I don't think... Okay, I want to hear you guys' thoughts because, like I said, we've been linked to a lot of left backs. It looks likely that we will be getting Cucurella on a deal. I'm just not too sure how to feel about it. And I put out a tweet earlier today asking people what they thought about, you know, Cucurella coming to United, and it seems like a lot of people are actually okay with it. A lot of people are quite happy with it. A lot of people don't mind him. Someone said he was excellent at Brighton. We shouldn't judge him based on his time at Chelsea. Someone said it has to have a loan option because there's a reason why he was brought for the price that he was brought when he joined Chelsea, has the quality, and there's no point in, and this I think is a valid point, that there's no point in a loan without an option to buy, as if he has a good season at Manchester United, then we are just making him more marketable for Chelsea next year. And someone else didn't agree with all the other left backs we were linked to. Of course, those left backs included Tagliafico, who I think has played with Erik ten Hag. Alonso for me is just the most confusing one. I'm sorry, I would not want him at Manchester United. Not at all. Not one bit. Simple as. I rest my case there. And obviously Rico Henry at Brentford, bit younger, maybe a bit more raw in his attributes. But I'm not too mad, I can't lie, about the Cucurella signing. I think the only concern I have is defensively. He's not the best. Good at getting forward. He's great at getting forward actually, but defensively I'm concerned with, especially playing one in the pivot in terms of Casemiro. That might be a lot of area for him to cover if, you know, Cucurella is going up top. Rashford, if he's on the left, has to get back and support him if, again, we get him. And I think Lisandro Martinez will be doing quite a bit of covering on that left hand side. Big up to Warren, says, yo Mina, what's up Warren, hope you're having a good day. No Varane, Shaw and Malacia. Anybody else? Big up to Dean. Yes, there is a lot more. There's a lot more, Dean, that you missed out. Obviously you mentioned Varane, Shaw and Malacia. Tom Heaton obviously out injured. Amad Diallo and Kobbie Mainoo of course out injured. Rasmus Højlund out injured, but we could see him back this weekend, or see him for the first time. Not even see him back. We could see him for the first time this weekend. And of course Mason Mount out injured. Now I think the only concern for me is that back line is probably out for the next 6 to 8 weeks at the least. And that's excluding Malacia, because I just generally do not know how long he will be out for. But I know that Shaw is expected to be out at least 8 to 10 weeks, and Varane could be out for 6 weeks. So I don't see us actually having either of them probably for the Manchester derby. That's at the end of October. I don't really see that happening. Luke Shaw's a miracle because he survived a career-ending injury. Shaw is the type of player that needs competition to be on his A game, but every manager has reverted back to Luke because he is class. I think Luke Shaw is just one of those players where if it's not broke, don't fix it, if that makes sense. Like, you can probably go out and find, you know, a world-class left-back, but when he is good, he's good. But it's just about that consistency of him not only being good, but consistently available. Of course, back to that career-ending injury that he encountered. It's a miracle that obviously he even managed to continue with his career. And it's actually taken him a long time to get to a level that is, you know, acceptable for Manchester United. Because of that injury, he came back off, you know, and he was quite young, and it was actually quite early into his time at Manchester United. But bear in mind, guys, how long has he been here now? He's been at Manchester United since what? I swear we brought him nearly 10 years ago. I'm pretty sure, or maybe it's been 9 years. Let's see, we brought him in 2014, so next year will be 10 years since he joined the club. And if you think about it, has he given us 10, like at least half of that good performances? I wouldn't say half. Just because I feel like his inconsistency has happened. But clearly there's a reason why managers revert back to him. There's an obvious reason why managers revert back to him all the time. I already know how my EAFC 24 United career mode starts. Terminate Cucurella loan. Big up to Austin Baker, says, what's going on with Tagliafico? I think he was just a name on one of the options. That's it. I think he's at Lyon. I don't think Lyon will sell quite late into the window. So if it's any move that happens for any player coming to Manchester United in the next couple of days, I think he'll be a loan, maybe with an obligation to buy. But it seems like they're looking at a more... What do Chelsea have, that I need to know? What do Chelsea have over all these clubs that they're selling to? Because out of all the players we go for, why are we going for a player that's playing at Chelsea? We've already helped them offload one person. Now we're taking someone on loan, which might help their books for the year as well, because they might be able to offload his wages for the year. What is going on? Big up to Ahmed, says, what is Cucurella good at? I think that's a question we can actually open up to the floor. I think he's quite good at getting forward in transition, especially in attacking transition. My biggest concern is defensively, the gaps that he might leave out. I think defensively, I think the biggest concern is Wan-Bissaka can hold his own on the right hand side. You need your left back to be able to do the same, especially, you know, with having players next to him. So in the instance of playing inverted, Cucurella having players next to him like Casemiro. Casemiro has a whole heap of ground ready to cover. Cucurella needs to step up in defensive transitions. I saw an interesting like analysis that kind of analysed Cucurella's time at Brighton, and it was saying that he got away with a lot defensively, especially in, you know, attacking transitions, because there was players there to clean up after him, i.e. Caicedo, etc. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. It'll be very interesting to see. Can you see us beating Arsenal this weekend? I can't lie, guys, I do not know how that game's gonna go, and that's just me being honest. But I have a preview show coming sometime this week with a special guest. It's actually my first guest on the channel, so they are obviously making history, but it's a special guest where we'll be previewing the Arsenal game, chit-chatting about the injuries they're missing, the injuries that we have, and of course what we think the scoreline will be. So make sure you guys stay tuned. I think it will be out, I will say, probably on Thursday or Friday. I'm not too 100% sure, but it'll be out. And then of course we've got Friday Night Lights, where we'll preview the game in detail, and then the game on Sunday, obviously we'll do things that we learned after the game. But we'll save that discussion for those videos. There, big up Blue Dabadi says Malacia, Tellers, Daily Blind. I forgot about Daily Blind. Dallo, Shaw, Ashley Young, everybody played left back since Alex Ferguson. That's a long list in 10 years. In the space of 10 years, I would say that is a lot of fullbacks, given the fact that only Malacia, Dallo, Shaw, okay, 3 out of 6 is still there, one of whom doesn't even play left back. He's just there just in case we need the bodies. One is already injured after his first year at United, so Luke Shaw is chilling. Did you hear what KG said today on UV regarding Amrabat? Apparently KG heard back during preseason that we wasn't going to bid for him. I didn't hear that. It might have been after I stopped watching, because I was watching earlier, but I didn't hear that. But I did hear, I don't know about that. Obviously KG is reliable. KG is a reliable source. That's all I have to say. So if KG said that happened, that happened. Take it as gospel. Cucurella, he's good at staying in the Chelsea squad. That's a bit harsh. Don't let it be Cecil. No, it's not Cecil. Sorry. It's not. Yeah, it is someone in the creative, in the football world and all of that stuff, of course. But you know, just wait and see, guys. Just wait and see. I'm gonna quickly, before I actually go on and on and on about stuff, I'm gonna do my 5 things that we learned. Or do I normally do 3? I think we normally do 3. 3 things that we learned after game week 3. Yeah, 3 things we learned. Number 1, I'll say we are clearly not as bad mentally as I thought we were. Maybe I judged too early based on, of course, sirens. Maybe I judged too early based on the last 2 games before that. But we are obviously not as poor mentally as I thought we were. We can clearly overcome any sort of problems, any sort of, you know, mishaps, anything holding us back. Basically, we can overcome it just if we put our mind to it. That's the first thing. The second thing I'll say is Bruno Fernandes is probably the most important player, and people could actually disagree with me. I would love to hear it, but I think Bruno Fernandes is the most important player in our probably Manchester United team, especially in our attack. I would say he keeps the ball ticking, a very integral part. KDB, even listen, KDB. That's all I have to say. What KDB says, make sure you guys respect it. Respect the guy, and that is to me first and foremost, because I've always been quite critical of Bruno, although I'm not as critical as other people are. But I have been critical of him. Had said quite a few times he needs to step up his game, be more tidy, be responsible, be a leader. And I think, yes, 2 days ago, that game, I think that was a great example of the Bruno that we need. That's the kind of Bruno Fernandes performance that we need to step up consistently. Not just against Nottingham Forest, but I want to see it against the big teams. Arsenal away, City away, Liverpool away, all of that stuff. I'm not even going to say Chelsea away, but, you know, all those games away, I need to see it. It's all good doing it at Old Trafford, shooting at the Stretford end, you know, got 70,000 people roaring you on. That's all good. But can you do it away from home against the top 6 club, which, guys, talking about Arsenal's game this Sunday, we have not beat them away since 2019. If you guys remember, the Millie Rock, that's the last time. I want to see that starting 11 because I guarantee you that none of them actually still play for Manchester United. If you guys remember Jesse Lingard's Millie Rock celebration versus Arsenal, that is the game, the last game that we beat them at. I need to double actually check. It's the last game that we beat them away from home. It's just our away record against them is poor. Our away record is actually poor. And you know what, guys? That wasn't even Premier League. That was the FA Cup, I remember. I'm just looking at it now. It was the FA Cup that we beat them. And before that, the last time we beat them in the Premier League was 2017. December 2017. And you know who scored? Do you know who scored? Jesse Lingard scored twice. He scored twice. And so did Antonio Valencia. Paul Pogba got sent off. Arsenal had 33 shots that game. I remember that game. Oh my God. I'm just looking back at our record against Arsenal. And to be honest, it's quite... Oh, at home, we've got a good record against them. Or do we even? It's just a bunch of draws that we have against them. A few victories, of course. And obviously we drew against them 2 seasons ago as well. But the last time we've won at the Emirates was in the FA Cup 4th round when we beat them 3-1. The Millie Rock at the Emirates. And before that, it was 2017. So clearly, guys, this game on Sunday is actually a very, very big game. I have loved Bruno from the start, but you weren't wrong with your criticism. That's right. At least someone agrees with me. Shout out to Steffi as always. Don't forget Brandon Williams. Oh my God, guys, I forgot to have a Brandon Williams has left the club, even though it's on loan. I forgot to have a Brandon Williams has left the club party. I forgot to do a Brandon Williams is gone stream to Ipswich. Ain't nobody watching Ipswich games. No offense to Ipswich fans, of course. No offense to Ipswich fans. But obviously, as you guys know, I do loan videos for United View, but that's a loan spell I will not be covering. I'm sorry, guys. I will not be covering that loan spell. I have zero interest in doing that. Absolutely no interest in covering that loan spell. I wish you all the best. Where's the... Guys, I have to... You know what, guys? I need a soundboard, yeah? Because the sounds that I have, yeah, I'm not even joking. The sounds that I wish that I could play for you guys, yeah? This is what I would actually... This would be my... This is what...
Miss, can I just tell you? I'm sorry to hear that your grandma passed away. I actually am. Obviously, I'm gonna be upset anything, yeah. And then, you know, the only thing is, no one can force me to be a mate or anything, yeah. I don't want to be mates with you, alright?
That's me to Brandon Williams. I don't want to be mates with you, alright? Thank God he's gone, guys. And I hope we sell him. I honestly, when I heard that Luke Shaw was out, I didn't even question, oh my God, we just let Brandon Williams out on loan. I did not even question that because I don't care. I actually do not care, and I feel like he has scammed his way too long, and it's just gone under the radar, guys. Nobody talks about it. It's gone under the radar for so long, and I'm glad that even when Luke Shaw got injured, me nor anybody else questioned, oh my God, where's Brandon Williams? Nobody said that. I guarantee you, if you had any value to a team and fans or whatever, I remember someone saying, talking about like when he played in his little stints for Manchester United, I don't think there was ever a time that I thought, yeah, we got Brandon Williams there, I'm comfortable. Nah, big up to Blue Dabba for reminding me because I forgot to talk about it. Don't let the door hit you on the way out, Brandon Williams. And when he leaves at the end of the season, I will do a Brandon Williams is leaving live stream where we just come and just laugh at him. I hope Bruno improves on his shooting. I missed outside the box goals from United. I do too. I can't remember the last time we actually scored outside of the box, like even like a screamer or anything. I like good football. I liked, the second goal, Casemiro's goal, very well worked goal. Caught the opponent kind of like out of, they weren't expecting it kind of thing. So I like that goal. But I would like a little screamer. I can't lie. I would like a little 30-yard, 35-yard screamer. That would be nice. That will be nice. Bruno will shine this season behind Rasmus. I feel like I couldn't say something about Rasmus until I see him play in the system. And I know I'm saying in the system. Truly, we don't even know what this system is. Like, we know little bits of it. Possession, inverted, all of that kind of stuff. We know the whole triangles thing. But really and truly, we don't know what the essence of Ten Hag's system is. But until I see him playing along, like see him making runs and that kind of stuff, until I see all of that, I don't think I could really say how I think Rasmus Højlund will. Sirens again. I don't think I could say. I think he might be good from what I've read about him, like analysis and everything. The Athletic did quite a good few pieces on him even before we signed him. They did quite a few good pieces on him, so I kind of understand more the sort of player he is. But until I see him play, and when I say play, I mean like a good 60-70 millions. I don't want to see like a 10-minute cameo against Arsenal if we're losing or something. I won't judge him on that. But actually opportunities at goal, in attack, transition, etc. I think if he is what I expect him to be and what he's made out to be, I think Bruno will eat assist wise with him. I think inevitably. It will happen. I pray we win versus Arsenal. I will be unbearable. Guys, honestly, I don't know how that result is going to go. I genuinely, last year, going into the games, especially like early in the season when we're playing at home, it's easier for me to predict. But even when we've been playing away, I've been able to say, I think this might happen or that might happen, just because of, I'm able to judge based on our last few games. If I judge based on our last few games, guys, there is no way in hell that I would say, I think we're winning. If I was to judge based on the last 10 away games, it's not happening. I couldn't do that because our away form is so poor, and that's what worries me the most. The away form worries me. The injuries worry me. That midfield worries me. And the only thing that kind of reassures me right now is that Arsenal don't look as great as they did at the beginning of last season. That's not me saying they don't look great at all, because I've actually had this conversation with quite a few Arsenal fans and they also agree. I'm not saying that they don't look great at all, but I'm just saying that they don't look as great as they did at the beginning of last season. But I want to hear your thoughts. Obviously, we will talk about it in depth closer to the game, of course, closer to the next stream before the game. But I just don't know what will happen. I hope we sign someone of Sterling's calibre, proper winger. Raheem Sterling, I think, is the most disrespected winger in the Premier League. I think he's the most disrespected, and it's because he spent probably a long time in that Pep system. But even in that Pep system, he was so important. He was so important, and I'm glad that he's actually picking up form at Chelsea, because we're from the same ends. But also not because of that, but also because I just think he's easily one of the best English talents that we've had in that generation. I feel like as time goes on, there will be better English talents, but he's just underrated. I think he's underrated, underappreciated, whatever you want to call it. Shout out to Riri, said, "What's your opinion on Anthony at this point?" Me and Anthony, we got a love-hate relationship. That's what I would say. We have a love-hate relationship. Some days I think he's great, some days I think he's poor. One thing I will always say is that I think what he offers defensively is solid, but I feel like he's too wasteful in possession sometimes, too lazy in possession sometimes, predictable in possession at times. But his decision making is different. His decision making always seems to vary. Actually, I don't think sometimes it's predictable. Sometimes it's like, what the hell? Why are you doing that? Still think that he is adapting to the league and to the English game, and obviously Ten Hag and these players. I just feel like he's very lucky. I feel like he's very lucky that he doesn't have anybody else competing for that right hand side for him. He's so lucky, and I feel like if Pellistri was given a chance, and when I say a chance, I mean a run of games consistently where it's more than 5-10 minutes, I mean like starting, then I think Antony would be shaking in his boots, because Pellistri, attacking wise, is what everybody wants in a winger. He's the only winger I would say that even has that at Manchester United. He's the only winger that is like that, i.e. can run at a man, run at the baseline, cut in, you know, put a ball into the box, get in behind defenders. Whereas Antony slows down possession when he does have the ball on a counter attack. He makes some questionable decisions. We saw it with the Spurs game, Wolves game, and even sometimes with the Forest game. But I do think that his performance on Saturday was way better than the Spurs game, and I think that's kind of applicable to everybody across the starting 11. But I think the difficult thing with Antony, I feel like his price tag weighs heavy in terms of when people criticize him. And I just wish, and this is not just for Antony, and this is applicable to everybody, not just United players, but everybody. I just wish that when people talk about players, they don't mention the price tag, because the player doesn't decide the price tag. The player, Antony never told Ajax to sell him for 80 million. We were the idiots that paid that. United were the dumbasses that paid that. So I don't think you should be like, oh, we brought him for 80 million. Because we were the idiots that paid that. Same as, you know, when we brought Maguire, when we brought Sancho. Same with when Chelsea brought Lukaku and they've just sent him out on his second loan. Same with when, you know, Chelsea have, you know, brought Enzo and Caicedo, broke the transfer record twice in the space of 6-7 months. We shouldn't criticise, I would say, or when we're criticising players or analysing players, we shouldn't be like, oh, they're worth this much, so they should perform X, Y, Z. I think that we shouldn't base it on that. We should base it on, if, for example, Ajax thought he was an 80 million signing. I don't think he's 80 million. I don't think he's worth that, personally. But that's what they valued him at, because they had him, i.e. he was the asset for them at the time. And they can rightly do that. But I think that when you look at the list of pros and cons of Antony, I think it's kind of balanced. I would say it's kind of balanced. You would want a player to have more pros than cons, but sometimes I feel like with him it's kind of balanced, and there's still things he needs to add to his locker in terms of, you know, being a better right winger. And I think, big up to Tabislav, says, I hate nepotism and favouritism. Oli was the worst, but Eric Ten Hag's mate, no thanks. I think Antony is probably Ten Hag's favourite player. Like, I think, you know, Lisandro Martinez is in there too, but I genuinely feel like in the consistent starting 11s that we have seen over the last 12 months, Antony rarely gets benched. Even if he's having off-the-field problems, he's not getting benched. I think even when he's not performing well, he's not getting benched. Even when that Spurs game, he had a poor performance and Pellistri came on and had a better impact in like 8 minutes than Antony did overall. You would think, okay, going into Forest, let's see how Pellistri performs on the right, because then Arsenal game, decisions can be made. No, not happening. So I think out of all the players and everyone in the team, I think Antony is Ten Hag's man. And I think Riri says it here, Eric Ten Hag wanted him no matter what, so that is why they paid that. And I generally think that I agree with that. I think, you know, that price tag that we paid was because Ten Hag was adamant that he wanted him and would get him by any means necessary. Bearing in mind, Cody Gakpo is who we were actually chasing Cody Gakpo for a lot more longer in terms of time-wise than we were chasing Antony. And I remember they were saying to PSV at the time that they would come, you know, talk to Gakpo once they kind of know their position with Antony. And obviously the price tag for Gakpo was a bit higher at the time, so the club didn't want to really pursue that. Then they went back for him after the World Cup, but by then he was already going to Liverpool. And at that point, we already had Antony. Rashford was playing on the left, so where was Gakpo going to fit in? There's a lot of questions, basically. A lot of questions to be asked. But I definitely agree with the fact that, Antony is Ten Hag's. But Ten Hag will always pick Antony on that right-hand side. Always pick Antony on that right-hand side. And, of course, he made Man United pay the premium price for him. When, to be honest, there's a lot of other right wingers we could have went for in the world. There's so many other right wingers that we could have went for in the world. Big up to JDS, says, Mina, sources say you are dodging playing KG on FIFA. I bet you any money the source is KG. I bet you any money. I will play KG when I hit 1k subscribers on the channel. That's the deal that me and KG have had. Had that deal since I had 100 subscribers. 200, 300, 400. That is the deal. And we're not that far off. You lot see this here. Oh, yeah, I did it right for the first time. You lot see this number over here, wherever it is. It's right there. Bam. We're not that far off 1K. So once we do get to 1K, of course, I will play KG on stream. And I will smoke him. That is a given. But big up to everyone in the chat for stopping by today for this stream. Of course, things we learned after game week 3. It will be back again after game week 4 when we play Arsenal throughout this week. A lot of content will be dropping. Oh, sorry, little yo-yo. Gotta keep the tradition going. Let's play. I think that Amrabat. I think that deal is not happening. I think that deal's not happening. And I stated it earlier in the stream. If we really wanted him, United would have won and got him. Poor guy, he's on hunger strike at this point. He's on everything strike. He's probably refusing to shower and everything because he wants to move ASAP. I think there's no coming back for him with Fiorentina. I think if Fiorentina don't get him out, they will kind of just push him out, if you know what I mean, or they will try. And I think if anyone wants him or if any other clubs want him, they will approach for a loan spell come Friday, and Fiorentina will be obliged to let him go on loan because guess what, they're going to lose him on a free next summer anyways. So if they maybe loan with an obligation to buy, they might be able to make a little bit money. They asked him for 20 million at this point. You know how crazy that is. It went from 30 to 20. By Friday I say it'll be like 15, but I think the way that United have even dealt with him is actually embarrassing. Because it's not any new news, but his camp have been in contact with Ten Hag and the club. They've promised him that they would approach for discussions with the team. They were just waiting for the Højlund and Onana deals to go through, and they've kind of left him out in the lurch. And as a result, they've gone and approached for Højbjerg. I don't know what we're doing going for a Spurs player, if I'm being very honest. If we were ever going to go for a Spurs player, it should have been Harry Kane. But United are now approaching other players and other teams. You see, this is the thing. If United, if in Amrabat's case, they approached his camp, but didn't approach his club, whereas all these other players, they are approaching the club before they approach the player and his camp. Gravenberch, Højbjerg, Cucurella, etc. So I think it says a lot. I feel bad for Amrabat, but also I don't think he should have burnt any bridges, if I'm being honest. Unless you are 100% sure that you were leaving, you shouldn't have burnt any bridges going on strike. We've seen it with Nonto at Leeds, who basically was trying to force his way out to Everton. Everton got smoked 4-0. The next day he went back and said, I want to stay here. I'll stay in the Championship. After he was refusing to play for Leeds and refusing to train with them. So sometimes the grass ain't greener on the other side. So I don't see the Amrabat deal happening, and I'm very sad because it's a deal that I thought would actually make our midfield better. But if we can get a Gravenberch, I wouldn't be too mad at that. Although I don't want loans, but again, I think we don't have the finances to be buying a left back, a midfielder, and a centre back. If we don't get a centre back, guys, I think we are screwed. Like, I genuinely think that. And I know, I keep saying I think we're screwed. But guys, I need you lot to understand. I think we are so screwed if we don't sign a centre-back. Raphael Varane will be out probably during the season. Harry Maguire is Harry Maguire. Lindelof we can count on. Lisandro Martinez still is not really ticking properly, still getting back into his form that he was in last season, especially coming off of an injury. There is no reason why, I don't know why we ain't gone to get Tapsoba or Tadiba. I just don't know, guys. I don't know, and I hope you guys don't know either. And you know what? I will do a stream, of course, transfer deadline day. I'll try to do some streams throughout the day as news picks up, Of course, like I said, got a Man United versus Arsenal preview video dropping sometime later in the week with a special guest, and they are an Arsenal fan. I hope that kind of doesn't give it away too much, but of course that will be dropped as well. Friday Night Lights will do transfer deadline day streams, and of course some gaming streams throughout the week. So make sure you guys hit the like button. Like I said, it's the road to 1k, and I will smoke KG at FIFA. Make sure you hit the like, make sure you comment, make sure you guys subscribe. Big up for sticking around, guys, for this long. I always appreciate it. as always, it's the road to 1k, guys. The channel is growing. It's growing slowly. Big up to everyone. As always, you know what it is. It's your girl Mina, and until next time, guys, peace.